Hello and welcome to Two Girls in a Pod. I am Sharon.
I'm Christy.
Oh, wow. What a day. We've been busy today.
We have been.
Love it, love it, love it. It means we get some stuff done. And you, as always, I always love when I'm talking to people and they'll start talking to me about things that are going on in their life and stuff. And it really helps us with our podcast because it gives us those ideas.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to somebody this week and we were talking about that. And we were talking about why is it so hard, or why does it seem harder to make friends, establish friendships as you are older?
hmm
You know,
Which makes a lot of sense.
why does it make sense to you? Because it kind of does to me too, but
I mean, there's even kids that can find it hard to make friends. But when you're kids, you're usually a little more outgoing in that. And then as adults, I think we get a little more reserved and don't know how to approach people in that. And there are many factors I think that play a part of that. Just the proximity too. I mean, you're not
true.
doing different things that you might have done when you were younger, that you're involved in different groups and things.
That's a good point you make, because I think that we sometimes forget we've become such a mobile society. So, we're moving around a lot. It's like you get somewhere and the military knows this very well. They move about every 3 years is their normal rotation, some longer, some shorter, but that's about the norm. And I think it's really interesting, but the difference with them is that they develop a camaraderie and everything based on what they do. There's such a commonality that takes place in that. If you're on a mission, it's everybody's mission, those kind of things. And then when you get out of the military, not everybody has that same experience or whatever. So I think that plays a factor into it.
Yeah.
We talk about the military a lot because we live in a military community. So I don't think that it is something that is just a military issue. I think it's a lot of people it seems like they're having more of a difficult time of establishing those friendships and, just kind of knowing where they fit, maybe.
Well, I think a lot of times we lose sight of things that we just enjoy doing too, because we get so caught up in our work and things like that. So it becomes this thing a lot of times of just going to work and doing what you got to do there, and you come home and you feed the kids and do whatever little last things you need to do before you hit the sack and start all over. Well,
It often does feel like Groundhog Day.
yeah. So it doesn't leave a lot of time, I think, for those like recreational kind of activities and things like that where you can make those connections.
Well, and I think the other piece that comes into that is because when you're doing that and it's kind of that same thing all the time, then it's kind of you get to the weekend or your days off and you're just there like, oh God, just give me a minute. You know what I mean? And so I think there's a lot of factors that play into that.
Yeah. Sometimes you just feel like, oh, I just need a rest. And then that's another thing that plays into why you don't go out and meet those different people to create those friendships.
It's kind of interesting because, before when I worked on the western slope of Colorado, I worked for my brother's company and my friends really were my siblings. And then through that, it became the employees. We would make friendships with them.
Right.
But I remember when I was young, I remember my mom and dad would go Saturdays or Sundays sometimes. They'd go visit their friends. They'd leave us at home. They were smart.
Good for them.
I would probably leave us at home too. Definitely. But they would. And they would go, they had their friendships. We met all their friends, they were a very big part of our lives. Even today, the one, of course, with my parents passing and stuff, but those friends are still there, and I kind of see what's going on with them when I can and stuff, because it becomes such an integral part of your life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that kind of sets this precedent, but then you fast forward to us today, it was easy for them because the people they went to visit were always in the same spot. We were in the same spot. After I left there, and like I said, when I went to work with my brother's company, I really didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't know my neighbors. Part of the reason, we worked really weird shifts. So depending on what shift I worked or what shift they worked, you just didn't have that. Because when I did have time off, I spent it with my nieces or with my family.
Right.
And a lot of that has shifted because of that mobile society. a lot of people aren't living close to their family members even.
Yeah.
So, your cousins and your siblings used to be your friends. They had to be. You wouldn't give them a choice. But you're an only child, so a little bit different, and you were homeschooled, so your friendships were church.
Yeah, church friends. That's what I had. Even after, well, so I was in homeschooling from 4th through 8th grade. And then I was like the little fish in the big pond because I started going public school for high school. And that was like, holy cow, what's going on? And it was not a small school. So, but I mean, I made a few friendships there, but it was mostly the people that I had already known in the church that I attended school there too. So I was fortunate in that they attended the same school as I did. So I kind of had those roots. So that was a good thing. But it can be intimidating to make new friends sometimes.
Because I come from such a small community, you knew everybody in the whole entire high school. Middle school, I don't know, I'm not sure if you wanted to. So it's a little bit different. And then, as you get older and, like I said, you kind of move on and you do stuff like that. And then, even as I moved away from my family and stuff, I still didn't know my neighbors or anything like that. And so it was really interesting to me that when I moved into your neighborhood, people were talking to everybody and all that. And I'm thinking, oh, that's kind of interesting.
We moved from Illinois out to Colorado, and my parents had been so involved in the church, all of my growing up years. And I was 18 when we came out to Colorado. And I think they just, they started looking for a church to attend out here, but they wanted to build a sense of community, I think. And so I really feel like, they bought an apartment complex and started managing that. And so within that complex, it was kind of cool because, they started doing things like barbecues and things like that and getting the neighbors involved. So it was kind of cool that there was that outlet and that way to build those friendships.
Kudos to your mom on this because she really talked to everybody.
Yeah, my dad did too.
I didn't see your dad as much. He was always out beautifying the city because he would always go pick up trash and make sure everything looked good.
I don't think he talked to the tenants as much, but boy, he talked to everybody in town.
So your mom would talk to me, and that's kind of how your mom and I developed a friendship. And it was through that friendship. And then it was interesting to me because something in me shifted. And I actually got to know our neighbors. And of course, we became really great friends with Kathy, Kathy, who was my neighbor. We knew a lot of Kathys. And then pretty soon I was hosting morning coffee.
Yeah.
And then you started coming to morning coffee. So we developed this little circle of things. But, then we moved away.
Great things develop over morning coffee.
Yes.
I know not everybody drinks coffee, but
Then find what you drink with those coffee drinkers.
yeah.
Because at first you didn't drink coffee. And your mom never drank coffee. But she'd still come and we would visit.
Yeah, I had tried it. I would get a little
She
bit.
dabbled.
Yeah. But my mom was like, that'll stunt your growth. Maybe that's why I'm so short.
Let's not blame it on that. I've met your family.
That's true. I'm the tall one.
This is true, people. We went back for her mom's celebration of life, and all the family lines up for a family photo. And I'm thinking, oh my God, Chrissy's the tallest one here.
Of course, that's only because my cousins Michelle and Samantha were not there because, they went out.
Yeah, they would win. But yeah, in that whole group, they're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
You got some in that. She felt good.
It was nice.
I think you start to see that things start to change. And then, of course, we even became more of a mobile society. So when we moved away from there, we kind of lost contact with the people that we had there, even though we loved that time with them. And I tell people, people come into our life and they're there for whatever period of time, and that's okay too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I think sometimes it can kind of feel lonely, as you become an adult and you want to share ideas, you want to share your experiences with other people. And it's like, oh my God, where do I find these people?
I think, one of the reasons it's so intimidating, we're always comparing ourselves. And if we have a healthy outlook on ourselves and we can bring our authenticity to the world, then I feel like that's where we find those meaningful relationships and that we can make friends because, we're being genuine.
And it's interesting to me because the gentleman I was talking to with about this, he has got this amazing personality. Oh my gosh. It's warm, it's inviting, and fun. He's got a sense of humor. He has a lot of interest, but yet he struggles with making friendships.
Mm.
And I know that can be hard sometimes because he is ex-military, so former military, I should say. And so once again, you get used to that camaraderie and it's easy there because you're all in the same situation.
It's
But
a trusted group.
yeah, so he's considered a non-traditional student. And he says, how do you make friends with somebody who's 18 and 19 when you're 40? And I get it. But I think the thing is that what are we doing to put ourselves out there too? And that was my question. Well, those people aren't going to come knock at your door.
Right. Right. And so if there's interests and things like that, that you can find those groups that your like-minded people will be in those groups as well.
You know, he does poetry. He is an amazing poet. He really is. I just thought about that. But you know, that's something. Go to the poetry groups. There's going to be a commonality. There's
Yeah.
going to be a wide range of ages that are going to be there. That's how you do it. A majority of my friends I've met at work, they're therapists. We have a commonality. We talk a lot with each other, but I'm not friends with all of them. You kind of have to pick and choose those people who fit your niche.
Mm-hmm. And like I say, sometimes it's exploring some of those interests and things like that, where you find those other people. We have a friend in the valley who I know she's always doing like beading groups and things like that. You know, they make and create things, crafts and stuff like that. So I'm sure that she has developed friendships through those groups.
And also she really likes to talk and engage with people.
Yeah.
I really think that's true. And I think where do you find those people that you really connect with? You know, and then once we connect, what becomes our responsibility in that relationship? And part of it is, I think sometimes as we start to get older, and sometimes you can find this as you're younger. It's not an ageism thing. It really isn't. Because some people, even when they're young, they know what they like. They know the kind of people they like, and that's who they want to engage with. And they don't like drama. They don't want that. And that's what I was telling them. Sometimes as you get older and you get to know more about who you are and what you like and what you don't like and all that, you don't want the bullshit.
Yeah.
You don't want drama. I think sometimes it's a little different navigating that. But you know, when I'm talking to parents and their kids are having conflicts, I love little 6-year-old conflicts, you know, things like that. You know, it's putting on that level of a 6-year-old, but they get mad, they get over it. So they don't have that same those little things that just hang on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then you get into middle school and it's a whole different story.
Oh, but
There it starts. But I think that's what it is. Find what you like. That's what I love about Kathy G. One of the things about her is she has a scuba diving group.
Mhm.
She rides bikes. So she does mountain biking in the summer, skiing.
Mhm.
She has different people in all of these different groups. And then, of course, as a therapist, she has us over here, some who are active, some who are not. No.
Right.
But that's what it is. It's finding those common interests. Because even when I look at our friends, there's such a wide range of them.
Mhm.
And which is kind of nice because, but once again, I think it comes back to what you said. You have to know what you're interested in. And then you go seek the people who have the same interest as you.
Yeah.
But sometimes in a college setting, you know, I mean, it's a little bit different because like when you're in a master's program, like the master's program I'm in, you learn a lot about your classmates.
Yeah.
They make you share crap, you know? like-
Especially in the program you're involved in.
Yeah. You know, they make you talk about yourselves,
How dare they make you share like that?
you know? And so because of that, it's very similar to that same thing, a military. You're sharing things, you're sharing details about your life.
Yeah.
It has this cohesive thing to it.
Mhm.
Some of those people I still keep in contact with. Some I don't, but I appreciate those moments. You know what I mean? And I think that's what it is. It's having gratitude for those moments, for where that friendship was, what it brought to your life. And then now, if I've moved on, how do I make that happen?
Mhm. And not being afraid to strike up a conversation. Like I say, if you're being this genuine person and just really that is your intent to make a friend, I mean, it doesn't always work out, but you know, you got to start somewhere.
And I think sometimes too, when you are really genuine,
Mhm.
and this guy, he's just always who he is, you know, very genuine. Like I said, very just a warm personality. And sometimes that can also scare people off because they don't know how to take that sometimes. But once again, seek out those people if that's what it is that you want. If you want somebody just riding bikes with or scuba diving, whatever that is, hiking. That's what we love about our friend Lori. Not that just that we hike. We're going to go do a little vacation with her, a little outing into the valley.
Might include some hiking.
Yes, definitely include some hiking. But that's something that we have a commonality with her,
Yeah.
which is really great. It's not the only thing, but it enhances those relationships. It kind of makes them a little bit stronger, a little bit more cohesive when you have that. But I do think it's harder. I think as we get older, it might become harder because we're looking for different things. And I always hear this, oh man, if I was 20, I'd still be up at, I'd be going to the club at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Now I just want to be at home because I've created something different. We love our home.
Definitely. That's definitely our sanctuary. So, I mean, I understand that. And I do think that it comes down to having balance and really realizing that, yes, if you want to create those friendships, you sometimes have to move out of your comfort zone a little bit, and still making time for you. Those are important.
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing I think that people struggle with really, because I want the friendship, but at the same time, I sit there and say, oh my God, I just need a little alone time because we're constantly sometimes people are working, interning, going to college, having kids. You're also a spouse. Those are all things that, and then so it's kind of like you get to that place where you're just like, oh my God, I just need a minute. But at the same time, I want to have people. So it's that balance.
It is.
It's really figuring out how do I balance all that out. I just love this about this client. Everything, if it's not in his schedule book, even if it's a friendship, if it's not in that schedule book, it's not going to happen. Because he gives back so much to the community. He has so many interests. He just does. Friendships are important too, but also when it overwhelms him, he's there like, nope, nobody will contact me after 7 o'clock.
That's
is
a
great.
good thing. Yes, because you really have to allocate time for each thing.
And that's the big thing right there. You have to allocate that time because if you don't, then the friendship starts to consume you and then it doesn't hold the same value. I mean,
and then other things start to suffer too.
Yes. So it's a balancing act. And I think that's what it is. I think as much as we want the friendship, sometimes there's also that little piece of us that says, oh my God, that's just one more thing I have to do. We shouldn't be viewing friendships as this is something I have to do, but because we're bombarded with so many things and by choice, because at any time we can say, nope.
Yeah.
But we don't. We have our friend June coming up. She'll be here in a few hours. And, that's one of the things with her. It depends on who's coming. If we have people coming in, what is it they like to do? What is some new experience we could take them to? If that's in June, she'd be perfectly content to just come to our house, sit with us, and we could talk.
For hours.
This is a true story. She used to come over. She was our neighbor for 10 years. And she'd come over, or Christy would call her, sang her that beautiful little song. I love it.
Yeah.
She'd come over. We would talk. And then we would look down. We might have breakfast. And then we're still talking. So, now we're going to have lunch. And then pretty soon, why don't we just go out and have a barbecue for the evening?
Yeah.
And it was like time just flies with us. It's that kind of relationship. We can laugh at anything. Christy always has to rein us in sometimes. I don't know what she's talking about. But then we have other friends who they want to go explore and experience things. We will go do that with them because that's the cool thing about it. That feeds us in those ways too. But it's still a real quick side story with Drew. We're there and when they were talking and we had gone and we had painted our living room. We've painted it.
Really beautiful green.
Oh my goodness, gorgeous.
Yeah.
And what was it called?
Retreat green.
And guess what it does?
It promotes
conversations. So we always blame the paint on why we all talk so much.
Yep, that
Worked
must
for
have been
me. But that's what I mean. And then some of our friends, there's going to be different levels of comfort with that, with friends. It's like our friend says, for her, she has circles So there's the inner circle and then all outer circle. If you get to that inner circle, that means something to her.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
And like one of the signs of that is those are the people that she has in her home that
Yes.
she'll invite over, and that's her inner circle.
And you know what? I didn't realize it, but that's us too.
Mm.
We don't have a lot of people in our home because it is our sanctuary. It is our place that we just love, but we also create our space to be very inviting for when people do come in. They really just, take off your shoes, enjoy yourself kind of thing. But we don't have a lot of people in our home. And it's funny because prior to the ladies coming into my home for coffee,
Mhm.
I did not really have people in my home other than my family.
Yeah.
And then I had a friend who I worked with named Sandy, and she would come in my home. But other than that, I just did not have people in my home.
Right. And that makes sense.
I had to learn to change too because I'm very private. I don't know if it's private. I don't know what it is, but I've learned but I also realized if I was going to have friends, I had to change something. Otherwise, I wasn't going to have friends.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean that it's always going to work out that it's going to be your neighbor. There are some neighbors that you're not going to want to engage with.
Yes.
But it is nice when it is a neighbor, you have that close proximity and they become such a good friend.
Oh my goodness, we love our neighbors to the would be the north of us. And I'll tell Christy, we're just gonna go. She goes, there's no such thing.
We
And
go
we
for
go.
sit on the porch,
And we just talk.
chat for a
We
good long
have
time.
these wonderful conversations, anything from gardening to, military stuff to just things in general. And I think that's really the cool thing. How do I get outside my comfort zone? And not even outside my comfort zone, how do I identify those things that resonate with me? What are my hobbies? What are my likes? What are my dislikes? Because
Yeah.
some people will do things that even they don't like in order to sustain a relationship, and it doesn't turn out well.
Right.
So it's really, what do I really, really love to do? And then go do those things. We have met some really amazing people just by going to different functions or,
Mhm.
you know,
You're podcasting even.
oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
That has been to me one of the really cool things about the podcast is we've really met some cool people and we keep in touch with some of them.
Yeah, it opens doors, you do meet people and it gives you that chance to have those conversations and build those friendships.
And what's kind of funny is, some of these things we just do we'll just be there like, when we did Bigfoot days the first time, it was like, hey, there's Bigfoot days, let's go to it,
See what it's like.
And it was amazing because that's a community and they're very friendly and open and warm and
Yeah.
it was amazing. We communicate with some of them and so it's been but we wouldn't have done that had, we said, oh, no, we're not going to do that. But it was like, oh, what the heck? We have a weekend. Let's go do it. And that's what we're finding we're doing. We'll just look at something and say, oh, this function's going on. Like I said, last week we were down at the Roll Up supporting AJ, who's getting ready to do a fight. We did a podcast with the Roll Up with Bryce, and he hosted this thing for AJ for his up and coming MMA fight. And we went there, and it was so nice because as soon as we went in, they were there. Oh my God. Bryce is there. Come look at what we're doing with the restaurant. So it wasn't a one and done, it was like, he goes, oh, when I get more stuff, I'll let you know. By all means, come back. We saw AJ right away. He came up to us and we had his dad and the people were, that's what I mean. It's slow. Sometimes it's a slow process, but it's taking that moment. You have to take the first step.
Yeah.
And I get it, but also in that really sitting with yourself and saying, how much time and energy do I want to put into these friendships? Because I am a parent, a spouse, a college student doing internships, working, whatever all the stuff is that have a 4-legged baby, and that's enough of a thing for you.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about that dog. No.
But as within any
Yes.
relationship, there are boundaries that have to be set and not.
Yes. And sometimes we feel bad because we'll have friends who'll say, oh, come on, let's go do this. Let's go do this. And we'll be there like, okay. And then sometimes we just have a lot going on. And then we'll sit there and say, I feel worried bad. We maybe should have went on that hike. But we have a lot sometimes that we have to get done. And then it's like, how do we balance that? because we want to keep those sustained friendships.
Yeah. And sometimes when you don't have the time to spend going and doing something, sometimes it's a conversation over the phone, things like that. I mean, I know for me, even though some of our friends live far away, but sometimes on a Sunday morning, we get on the phone and start talking to them, and maybe we're on there for a couple hours, but
Oh, yeah, it can
it's
be
a great time.
it can be one morning.
Yeah. And it just fulfills you in a different way.
Yes, and once again, it's putting yourself out there. They don't live by us, but it still works the same way.
Yeah.
And I think those are the things. It's how do we really make that happen in a way?
I think that we have to just work on overcoming those fears, those insecurities that maybe somebody's not going to like us or those kinds of things. But if you step outside of that and you are willing to make that connection, sometimes it can lead to wonderful things, wonderful friendships.
It really can. And I think, like I said, as we get older, our ideas, our time looks different, what we want to do with our time. And those things are okay. We're going to morph and evolve, as we do. And so friendships that used to work won't work. But it really is that thing of going, saying hello to somebody, taking that moment to listen to their story. That sometimes, and sharing your story with them also, can sometimes be where all of that starts, but it can still be lonely. It can be lonely not having those outlets because you want like-minded people and sometimes not like-minded people, but you want commonalities, some of those things that you share, those interests or whatever, because it feels something in us.
Yeah. And I think maybe some of the fear that comes from that too, maybe you think that this group of people, your views don't align or things like that. And we have friends that, we don't agree on everything. That's not what we're intended to do. We have a mind of our own, just like they do. And that's okay. You can still have those friendships. A lot of times you have to agree to disagree, but that's okay.
And I've heard people who will say, oh, I can't be friends with them because of whatever affiliation they have. Maybe they shop at this store and I don't. Well, it can be anything. Or, I'm not going to, no, they're Republican, they're Democrat, they're Christian, they're boot. And I said, so you're going to take a huge chunk of the population and just discard that? I said, now we've really narrowed our pool down even more. And I said, it's not what that's about because we do not agree on everything. We do not have the same interest. We have a lot of similar interest, which is great, but there's some stuff that we don't share, and that's okay. I can share that with one of my other friends. She can share that with her other friends. That's the whole piece to that.
And that's healthy.
Yes. And I think that that's one of the things. So it is that thing of how do I put myself out there and all of that. And you have to trust that you have something to offer somebody.
Yes.
And you have to be open to receive from somebody else. And I think in this case with this gentleman, I think he has both of those things. But I also think it's that thing of just finding those people in a city. Where are they? This always fascinated me because, I work with military and I would work with the military wives. They'd come in. I'd start when they would start their rotation here. I can't make any friends. I don't have any friends. And I would hear this for about a year. Okay, what are you doing? Are you going to FRG? Are you going out to any of their functions? They have mom groups. They have all this. Well, no. Okay, so what are you doing again? Because I'm trying to figure this out. And I'll always tell them, it's going to happen when you least expect it. And inevitably, right when they're about a year before they PCS, they find that really great friend.
Yeah.
And they'll be there. And then our sessions are about this new friendship. But sometimes it's having the patience. It's going out there. And because sometimes it can be if you're the military, if you're you're an older female, your husband's been in the military or vice versa, and you're around a lot of the younger military, they say, well, I don't know how to engage with them. Yes, you do. You talk the same way you talk to everybody else. Age is not that. If I go and take out everybody, say under the age of 25, nope, they're out. That's a huge population.
Yeah.
I said, no, we can't do that. I mean, we have friends who are a lot younger than us. We have friends who are a lot older than us. And it's amazing and it feels great to have all of those friendships.
Yeah.
but they're not going to come knock at your door.
Nope. Not unless you invite them.
Exactly. And then if they're knocking at your door, they're solicitors or something like that, and you're hiding from them anyway, because you don't want to talk to them.
Yeah. Then you don't answer.
Yeah, so see, there you go. There were that one possible friendship. Well, they sound no.
Yeah.
So yeah, engaging, and sometimes it is scary and it is lonely. But I think that if you shift your focus, and I think once a lot of times we go on and we don't even realize it's missing from our lives until we realize it's missing from our lives. And then it's like, oh my God, I don't have any friends. What do I do? And then when we get to that place, it's only then that that door and those opportunities open, because now we're actually open to the friendship. We don't realize that prior to that, we really didn't, maybe it wasn't a need or a want of ours. But then we get to that place where, you know what, I really do want. Sometimes it's when your kids are getting ready to graduate, there's shifts within the family system. And then they're like, whoa, the empty nest syndrome, because a lot of them, it's like, oh my God, all I've ever known was being in that. And it's like, oh, what am I going to do now? It's that shift.
Mhm.
And with that shift also comes great, amazing opportunities for these wonderful people to come into our lives. So I think even with him, now that he's sitting back thinking about these friendships, that hasn't, just that simple thought and that simple conversation, I think opens the door to the possibilities.
Yes.
So I'm putting out there that those friendships come to him,
Mhm.
but not knocking at his door. And I'm putting out there that somehow he's going to meet him there. He's going to meet him somewhere. But no, seriously, I think the biggest thing is know your own interest. If you take anything away from this one, you have to know what you like. What are your hobbies and things like that?
Yeah. And allow yourself to be yourself with people. And
That authenticity you
Yeah.
talked about.
exactly.
And then I think the other thing is also when, if you're having that dilemma of, do I want that? How do I balance this? Really sit down and say, how much energy do I really want to invest? And sometimes in friendships, at the beginning of friendship, we invest more in order to build it and develop it. And then
Mhm.
we talk to June sometimes once every 2 months or whatever. And of course, now we talk for 4 hours. I think if we talk more often, it'd be shorter conversation. No.
Yeah, I don't know.
But she comes here, we'll go see her. Those are the things we're talking, same thing with Sandra, except Sandra, we talk to her daily, believe it or not.
Right.
And then we vacation with her and we do all. So our friendships are the same. And I always tell people, if you have that moment, and I do this, I'll say, you know what, honey, I'm thinking of our friend, and I'll call him. She'll talk about, she's not as good.
Yeah.
She'll be there. Oh yeah, we'll talk to him. And then it's like she gets caught up or whatever. But I have started to make a conscious thing about it though.
Mhm.
And I think that's the thing, to have a conscious awareness to what it is that you want to do.
Yeah, you have to. And especially when you're trying to make friends, that initial thing. And then we said it's that balance. So we do have to look at how we allocate our time.
And maybe we do have to go back to when you watch little kids. They'll just simply go up to somebody and say, will you be my friend?
Yeah.
And then beautiful friendships are born. So sometimes even a direct approach is a good approach.
Right.
So hopefully, some of this resonates with you. And if you're out there and you're looking for those friendships, hopefully these will give you some ideas about how do I find those friendships, and also thinking about how much time do I want to invest in those friendships. So there's a balance within it,
Mhm.
but we all deserve to have friends.
Yeah.
Okay. So as always,
You can find us on twogirlsinapod.com is our website. And you can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. Please look us up, follow, subscribe.
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube, you can find Adventures of Two Girls in a Pod, where you will find all of our podcasts as well as a few videos. Sharon does some mixology.
Yes, because I love mixology, as everybody knows. If you jot a thing and you say, hey, I want to throw a drink out there, I'll see if I can make it, man. I love it. I really like it. I love just mixing. Once again, that's why I love to cook and stuff. But yeah, engage with us. Ask us questions. Throw stuff out there. We do appreciate, we have been getting more engagement. Like us, follow, subscribe. Those things are really important to
Yeah, if you go to the
what we do
website,
here.
if you go to the website, twogirlsinapod.com, you can sign up with your email and it'll notify you whenever there's a new podcast available.
Yeah, and we have a lot of new up and coming stuff that we're working on right now. We're getting so excited that it's kind of coming together, and we'll be really excited and happy to share that with everybody.
Yes.
Good things are coming, people. And go out there, make some friends, be a friend to somebody,
Yeah.
you know. As always, we appreciate you, very grateful for you, and we hope that you guys have a fantastic week.
Bye.
Bye.